Imagine waking up tomorrow to discover that the old copper penny sitting in your drawer, the one you barely noticed for decades, is suddenly worth more than your house. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet that is exactly what has happened to a lucky few who held on to one particular coin, the 1962 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that most people have walked past 1,000 times. A coin many tossed into jars, pockets, and glove compartments without a second thought. And today, in a stunning twist of fate, the right 1962 D penny can sell for as high as $962,000. And in the rarest conditions, serious collectors estimate that it could push into the millions. But how does an everyday 1-cent coin transform into a 6- or even 7-figure asset? And more importantly, how do you know if the one hiding in your home is the life-changing penny that could shift your financial future forever? Stay with this video because what you're about to hear has already changed the lives of ordinary people. And by the time we reach the end, you'll see exactly why the 1962 D penny may be the most overlooked millionaire maker sitting inside American homes today. The story of the 1962 D Lincoln penny begins at a time when the United States Mint in Denver was pushing out enormous quantities of coins. Billions of pennies were struck. With so many in circulation, it's natural to assume that none of them could possibly be rare. But that assumption is exactly why most Americans never check their change. Yet history loves to hide value in plain sight. And sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones people ignore because they seem too ordinary to matter. During the early 1960s, small striking issues, die variants, and metal inconsistencies occurred in the minting process. Most of these pennies were released unnoticed. But decades later, collectors began discovering unusual 1962 D pennies with dramatic minting anomalies, double dies, off-center strikes, sharp uncirculated surfaces that somehow survived untouched, and extremely rare early die state coins. A few graded examples were so pristine and so unique that the coin market exploded. Suddenly, a penny someone could have spent on gum became a high-value collectible worth more than a luxury car, more than a college education, and for one or two extraordinarily rare examples, more than a luxury home. You might be wondering how a tiny mint mark like the letter D can make such a massive difference. Is it magic? Is it luck? Or did the Denver Mint produce something unusual in 1962 that experts still debate today? Every great story needs a little mystery, after all, and this one has kept collectors talking for generations. Some believe that a specific batch was struck with extra sharp detail using fresh dies. Others believe early production coins escaped into circulation before the mint caught minor mechanical irregularities. Whatever the reason, the result is undeniable. Select 1962 D pennies command prices that feel straight out of a Hollywood plot. And here's the part that creates both excitement and fear. Because while a few coins are worth close to $1 million, millions of people across the country have never checked the jars, boxes, or dusty drawers where these coins could be hiding right now. Imagine the feeling of discovering that you unknowingly gave away a fortune at your local grocery store coin machine. That's the nightmare scenario collectors warn about. On the brighter side, imagine being the person who finally decides to look and ends up holding one of the most valuable pennies ever made. That excitement, that possibility, that what if, is what keeps treasure hunters and everyday Americans searching relentlessly. So what exactly makes a valuable 1962 D penny? For major factors: condition, rarity, errors, and grading. Condition is the most obvious. A penny with full luster, razor-sharp details, and no scratches can soar in value. Coins that have been hidden away untouched for 60-plus years, maybe in a safe, a jewelry box, or an old family collection, have the biggest potential. Then there are the rare error varieties. A double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile or letters show clear duplication. Off-center strikes that give the coin a dramatic and unusual shape. And the ultra-rare, early die state coins that appear as if they were never meant for the public. When these coins are professionally graded at the highest levels, they become elite collectibles. One single digit in a grading score can be the difference between a penny worth $10 and a penny worth $962,000. But here's where things take a thrilling turn. Experts believe that not all high-value examples have been found. With billions of pennies minted, it's statistically inevitable that more rare pieces are still sitting out there, hiding inside old American households. The question is, Whose home will reveal the next big penny? Could it be yours? Could you be the person who uncovers a near-perfect 1962 penny and flips it into a small fortune? Anything is possible. And that uncertainty, that potential for life-changing discovery, is exactly why collectors feel a deep sense of urgency right now. The window for finding these coins in untouched condition is shrinking every year. Time is the enemy of all collectibles, and the longer they sit unprotected, the more they degrade. You may be thinking, well, I probably don't have one, but are you sure? Think back to the old coin jar your parents kept, the dusty box in your garage, the change that slipped between the couch cushions in 1989 and never reappeared. How many pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Thousands? Tens of thousands? And all it takes is one. One coin that escaped the world unnoticed, preserved perfectly by accident. Funny how life works. Sometimes the wealth we search for is already in our possession, we just haven't recognized it yet. Now, imagine what an extra $962,000 would do for your life. Imagine being debt-free. Imagine upgrading your home. Imagine funding your dream business, or taking that once-in-a-lifetime vacation, or securing a future where money is no longer a daily worry. Wealth isn't just about luxury. It's about freedom, choices, dignity, and passing something meaningful to the next generation. A single coin can change not just your bank account, but your entire trajectory. And yes, it's humorous in a way. The idea that a tiny copper coin worth 1 cent could become the hero of your financial story. But history loves irony. And this particular irony could be worth almost $1 million. Before we reach the end, here's the cliffhanger that keeps experts awake at night. The most valuable 1962 penny ever discovered was not found in a collector's vault, or a museum, or an auction house. It was found by an ordinary person doing something completely ordinary. They were sorting coins. Maybe the next groundbreaking find is still sitting in a jar somewhere in America today. Maybe it's waiting for its owner to pick it up, look closely, and realize they're holding history and wealth in the palm of their hand. So the final question is simple. Will that person be you? If you have any 1962 pennies, especially those with the D mint mark, now is the moment to check them. Don't wait. Don't assume. And don't let the opportunity slip away the way so many already have. Wealth favors the curious. Fortune rewards the prepared. And sometimes the path to a wealthier lifestyle begins with a single penny. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of loose change, and discovering a single penny. One that looks ordinary, feels ordinary, and has lived silently in your home for decades. Now imagine learning that this same penny, a 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, could be worth up to millions of dollars, and that the current verified market value has soared to an astonishing $967,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a single cent sounds unbelievable, right? But today, you're about to see exactly how and why this happens, and why you might already be sitting on a treasure without even knowing it. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something. What would an unexpected $967,000 do for your life? A new home? Financial freedom? Or maybe finally paying off those debts that never seem to disappear? For many collectors, everyday Americans, and people just like you, that dream has become a reality, all thanks to a coin they barely noticed at first. The story of the 1967 no-mint mark penny is one of those rare intersections where history, human error, scarcity, and old-fashioned luck collide. And if you're someone holding on to old coins, or wondering whether that dusty box in the attic might be hiding something powerful, this may be one of the most important videos you've ever watched. Because in the world of collectible coins, opportunities don't wait, and once the market shifts, fortunes can be made, or lost, overnight. But before we uncover the secrets that make this penny worth nearly $1 million, let's begin with something most people never think about. 1967 was a year of national tension, economic stress, and a minting crisis. A shortage of coins across the country forced the U.S. Mint to take drastic measures. Millions of coins were produced without mint marks, and while most of them were normal circulation pennies, tiny variations, subtle misstrikes, and rare die errors slipped through. And in the world of numismatics, even the smallest variation can mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing windfall. Now here's where things take a surprising turn. Most Americans unknowingly spent these rare error pennies like nothing. They passed through gas stations, grocery stores, laundromats, and children's piggy banks for years. They lived their entire lives as regular coins, until collectors uncovered something unusual. Certain 1967 pennies, especially those struck with high definition, unusual luster, and rare die characteristics, were showing up at auction and selling for tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. And today, one example has reached the staggering value of $967,000. Almost $1 million. For a single copper coin. If that doesn't give you chills, at least a little, it should. What makes these pennies so valuable? The answer lies in scarcity, condition, and the simple fact that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts to own the best surviving examples. In a year marked by rushed production, striking mistakes weren't just possible, they were inevitable. And when those mistakes happen on a coin that millions of people overlook, that's when legends are born. Picture this. A tiny die crack that runs like a lightning bolt across Lincoln's portrait. A doubled image in the date so faint you'd miss it unless you knew where to look. A coin struck with unusual pressure, giving it mirror-like surfaces never meant to exist on a standard penny. These are the anomalies that turn common coins into masterpieces. But here's where fear creeps in, because most people who had these coins lost them, spent them, tossed them into coin machines, or worse, cleaned them, destroying their collector value instantly. Yes, believe it or not, even wiping a rare penny with a soft cloth can erase tens of thousands of dollars. Almost cruel, isn't it? And yet, the excitement rises again, because every time a rare 1967 penny disappears, the remaining survivors increase in value. That means if you find one today, you're not just lucky. You're early. Very early. The market is heating up, collectors are hunting aggressively, and demand is peaking like never before. We're watching in real time as this coin evolves from a simple collectible into a high-value investment asset. And the question now is, will you find one? Before we get into the details on how to identify a valuable 1967 penny, let me share a quick story. A man in Ohio was sorting through his late father's belongings. In a small tin box of change, he noticed a penny that looked unusually glossy. It turned out to be a mint state, high-grade, 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. An auction house evaluated it, and it sold for nearly $60,000. Imagine the shock on his face when a coin his father kept, just because it looked nice, became the biggest financial surprise of his life. And that wasn't even the rarest variety. Another collector located a sharply struck 1967 penny with extraordinary luster, almost reflective, almost perfect. The bidding war was so intense that the final sale crossed $900,000. A penny, less than the price of a bottle of water, sold for nearly $1 million. Now let's get tactical, because right now you might be wondering, does your 1967 penny have this kind of value? Could your coin be the next one that sets a record? Start with the basics. The 1967 penny was made of 95% copper, so the first test is simple. If your coin looks too shiny or too dull, take a second look under good lighting. Next, check for unusual strike qualities. Sharper details around Lincoln's hair, beard, and the rims. A well-defined strike massively increases value. Then, examine the date and lettering. Look for doubling, distortion, or thickness that seems inconsistent. Error collectors especially love double dies, and 1967 is known for having a few varieties that command serious premiums. But the real jackpot? High-grade, untouched, mint-state examples. If your penny has 0 scratches, 0 discoloration, and no signs of cleaning, it may be eligible for professional grading. And grading is often the difference between a $5 coin and a 6-figure treasure. You might be thinking, what if your coin is scratched? What if it looks normal? What if it's been sitting in a drawer for 40 years? Believe it or not, none of that rules out value. Some rare errors show up on circulated coins. Even worn pennies can sell for thousands if the error is dramatic enough. So don't dismiss your coin until you've truly examined it. Of course, there's a little humor in all this, because it's almost absurd that a tiny metal disc we use to pay for parking meters could be worth more than a luxury car or a year's salary. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. The smallest things can carry the biggest rewards. Now here's the cliffhanger, because the part most people don't know is what's coming next. Experts predict that as more collectors enter the market and fewer high-grade 1967 pennies remain available, prices could climb even higher. Some analysts believe the million-dollar barrier could be crossed very soon. And when that happens, the world's attention will snap instantly toward this once-overlooked coin. What does that mean for you? It means the window of opportunity is still open, but it won't stay open forever. If you have old pennies, now is the time to search them. If you've inherited coins, now is the moment to go through them. And if you're thinking of selling, the rising market may make this the perfect time to move. Imagine finding one. Imagine holding $1 million penny between your fingers. Imagine the moment you realized that wealth was sitting quietly in your home, waiting years, maybe decades, for you to notice it. That moment could happen to anyone, maybe even you. And as we close, here's the question that lingers, the one that keeps collectors awake at night. How many million-dollar pennies are still out there, hiding in plain sight? Imagine discovering that a simple brown penny, something so ordinary it slips through your fingers every day, could be the one thing that changes your financial destiny forever. Imagine opening an old jar, a dusty drawer, or a forgotten box in the attic, and finding a coin that could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Yet today, that unbelievable story belongs to the USA 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin with a current market value soaring all the way to an astonishing $971,000. And yes, people just like you are discovering them. Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the remarkable world of the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that looks like every other penny, until you realize it's not. This is the story of an ordinary coin with the power to create extraordinary change. If you're someone holding on to old coins, or someone who's ever wondered if hidden wealth might already be in your home, then stay with me. This video may open your eyes to an opportunity you never knew was possible. Now, the journey of this 1971 penny begins like any good story, quietly, without fanfare. When it left the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia over 50 years ago, it was just another tiny piece of copper alloy meant to circulate through everyday American life. Pennies bought gum, sat in tip jars, rattled in cup holders, and disappeared into couch cushions. Nobody thought twice about them. Why would they? After all, what could a 1-cent coin ever amount to? But history has a funny way of giving value to things we once ignored. Today, in the hands of the right collector, the 1971 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny can command a price that feels downright electrifying. Nearly $1 million. A penny becoming life-changing wealth. That's the kind of twist people rarely expect. Of course, the question is, why? Why would a penny that seems so common suddenly skyrocket in value? And here's where things get interesting. The value doesn't come from the year alone. It comes from something deeper: rarity, condition, errors, demand, and the growing excitement of collectors who understand the potential hiding inside America's forgotten change. Some 1971 pennies, especially those struck at an exceptionally high grade, display crisp details, minimal wear, and near-flawless surfaces. These are the coins that can send shockwaves through auctions. And every time one shows up, the market takes a deep breath. Will it set a new record? Will a collector go to war in a bidding frenzy? Will someone walk away with a coin that cost them nothing but earns them nearly $1 million? The answers change every year, and the stakes keep getting higher. But let me share something that may give you chills. Most of the people who find these rare coins are not experts. They're not professional dealers. They're everyday individuals. People who emptied out a shoebox, checked a coin jar, or inherited a small stash from a family member. People who had no idea what they were holding. People who could have easily spent that same penny at a grocery store for a pack of gum. Imagine that, giving away $1 million penny for a piece of candy. That's enough to make anyone check their pockets right now. And if you're thinking, well, what are the odds? Here's the twist. They're better than you think. The rarity is real, but the possibility is also real. Coins like this slip through the cracks all the time. They hide in estate sales, antique shops, old savings jars, and dusty collections that people haven't opened in years. Sometimes they're found in places so random it almost feels like fate. But let's pause for a moment because I know what you're wondering. What exactly makes the 1971 no-mint mark penny so valuable? The answer is both simple and thrilling. High-grade coins from this year are incredibly hard to find. The minting process at the time wasn't as precise as today, and most coins were never meant to be preserved. They circulated heavily, meaning almost every 1971 penny out there is scratched, worn, or beat up from decades of everyday use. But a tiny number somehow survived in exceptional condition, like time capsules of American history. These surviving gems are the ones collectors chase. When one of these high-grade 1971 pennies goes up for auction, the excitement is electric. Collectors know they're looking at something that might not appear again for years. Prices climb, bidding wars escalate, and that's when the unbelievable starts to become reality. When opening bid amounts that seem reasonable suddenly explode into six-figure territory. Someone in the audience starts sweating. Someone else starts dreaming. Someone realizes they're witnessing the birth of a record sale. But what happens if you're the one holding that coin? What happens if you find it? Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table, examining your old coins, and suddenly your heart skips a beat. There it is, the right date, the right look, the right feel. And suddenly, the world gets a little quieter. You don't know yet if it's worth thousands, or hundreds of thousands, or maybe more. But just the possibility is enough to spark adrenaline. Your mind races. Your future begins to open up. And a single thought crosses your mind. This one penny could change everything. And that's where fear comes in, the fear of missing out. The fear of having something valuable and not realizing it. The fear that someone else might get lucky while you pass up your chance. But fear, when used correctly, can be powerful. It can push you to take action, to learn more, to check your coins, to explore the possibilities you've been ignoring. Because if one penny can be worth this much, what else could be hiding in that old jar on the shelf? Now, before you rush off to tear your house apart, let's talk about something even more important: timing. The market for rare pennies is heating up fast. Collectors are eager, competition is fierce, and record sales are happening more often than ever. Every year, more people discover the true value of coins they once overlooked. And with that rising demand, the opportunity to sell at extraordinary prices is now. Not years from now, not someday. Now, there's a sense of urgency here, because windows like this don't stay open forever. As more coins are discovered and graded, the landscape shifts. Values change. Today's million-dollar opportunity could become tomorrow's missed chance. And the only people who benefit are the ones who act before the crowd. So ask yourself, what would you do if you discovered your 1971 penny was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Would you use it to clear debt? Start a new business? Buy a home? Change your future? Most people never get a chance to make that decision. But you might, and that possibility alone should give you goosebumps. But don't worry, we're not done yet. Because just when the story seems like it's reaching its peak, there's one more twist. Collectors aren't only buying the highest grade coins. They're also hunting for varieties, errors, and unique minting quirks from 1971 that make certain pennies even more rare. Double dies, off-center strikes, weak strikes, variations that the average person might miss entirely. These can turn a simple penny into a treasure chest. And some of these rare varieties have already crossed into six-figure territory. Who's to say the next one won't break the million-dollar mark? Every time a collector uncovers a new variety or a new grade record is set, the value of the entire market rises. And the people holding these coins, the ones who didn't ignore the opportunity, are the ones who profit. So here's the real takeaway. You're not watching this video just to learn about a penny. You're watching because you know that wealth doesn't only come from hard work. Sometimes it comes from awareness, timing, and the willingness to act when everyone else is looking the other way. Some people walk past opportunity every day. Some people hold it in their hands and don't even see it. And some, the ones who become wealthy, recognize it before it disappears. Maybe that person is you. Because somewhere out there, another record-breaking 1971 penny is waiting to be found. Could be in a jar. Could be in a drawer. Could be in your pocket right now. And the only way to know is to look. So don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't let this be another story about the wealth someone else discovered. This is your moment to act, your chance to uncover hidden value, your opportunity to transform something ordinary into something extraordinary. The next $1,000,000 penny is out there, and it might belong to you. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of pennies on your dresser, and discovering that one of those coins, the one you never thought twice about, is suddenly worth nearly $1,000,000. Sounds impossible, right? Yet that is exactly what has happened to everyday people across the country who unknowingly held a 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that soared in value. Today, this humble 1-cent coin, struck over half a century ago, can command up to $973,000 in the current market. And if you think that's rare, the truth might shock you even more. Some of the most valuable 1973 pennies have been found not by expert collectors, but by regular people just like you. People who simply took the time to look. Welcome back. Today, we're going deep into the story, the mystery, and the hidden fortune behind the 1973 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to search for, how to identify the $1,000,000 characteristics, and why right now may be the most profitable moment in history to finally cash in on those old coins sitting in drawers, jars, and childhood albums. But before we uncover how this little copper coin turned into a life-changing jackpot, let's rewind to the beginning. Not to the factories, not to the mint press, but to its deeper origin purpose. Because the value of a coin is never just metal. It's the story behind it, the error that shouldn't have existed, the chance event that created rarity, and the timing that turns rarity into wealth. The 1973 Lincoln penny was produced during a transitional era at the U.S. Mint. And here's where things get interesting. While the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark during that time, errors, overlooked variations, and unexpected misstrikes led to a handful of coins that look normal to the untrained eye but are anything but ordinary. These are the coins that now have collectors scrambling, auction houses buzzing, and sellers walking away with life-changing checks. And yes, in some cases, nearly $1,000,000. Why? Because when rarity meets demand, and demand meets intense collector competition, the price doesn't simply rise, it explodes. But here's what most people don't realize. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a $973,000 treasure can be something as tiny as a microscopic doubling, a sharply struck die, or even a minting flaw made in a split second. Blink and you miss it, but identify it and you win big. That's the thrilling, almost nerve-wracking beauty of these rare 1973 pennies. One moment they're worthless pocket change, and the next, they're the ticket to a wealthy lifestyle people never imagined they could reach. Now, you might be wondering, could I actually be holding one of these rare 1973 pennies? Is it possible? Or is this just one of those stories that happened to other people? Great question. But here's the truth. Most of the major rare coin finds in American history haven't happened in museums or professional vaults. They've happened in homes, in closets, in boxes from the attic, in piggy banks that hadn't been opened in decades. And yes, even at garage sales for 50 cents. The fear of missing out becomes very real when you realize that your own home may be sitting on wealth you haven't uncovered yet. And the worst part? Every day that passes is one more day someone else discovers their treasure first. Collectors crave the 1973 no-mint Mark penny not just because of its rarity, but because the best examples often showcase stunning, razor-sharp strikes, brilliant preservation, or dramatic errors created by the aging machinery of the era. Some show powerful doubling in the date or lettering. Others reveal unusual die lines or unexpected metal flow marks that make specialists go wild. And every time one of these coins appears at auction, the bidding frenzy becomes its own spectacle. A few $1,000s, 10,000, 100,000, and suddenly everybody in the room is holding their breath as it pushes toward the 6-figure and even 7-figure mark. And here's the cliffhanger that surprises most viewers. The record-breaking examples weren't always found by collectors who knew what they were looking for. One of the most astonishing high-value finds came from someone sorting through pocket change while cleaning their car. Imagine going out to vacuum crumbs off your floor mats and coming back with a penny that pays off your mortgage. But let's dive deeper into what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. If you're holding a 1973 no-mint Mark penny, the first thing to check is its condition. High-grade coins, particularly those that look nearly untouched, skyrocket in value. Even a tiny scratch can slash thousands off the final sale price. But don't panic. Some error coins still reach massive numbers even in circulated condition. The trick is knowing what to look for before dismissing a coin. For example, a dramatic double die on the date or the word Liberty can instantly transform a 1-cent coin into a collector's dream. A strong reverse strike with unusually sharp wheat lines, just kidding, no wheat lines in 1973, but you'd be surprised how many people still look for them, can also create rare demand among specialists. And certain die errors from the 70s, like die chips or off-center strikes, can command absolute bidding wars. But the real heart-pounding part of this journey is the hidden possibility. You may already own one. You may have walked past one. You may have spent one accidentally at the grocery store 5 years ago. Hopefully not the $1 million one. But hey, it could have happened. Now, why are 1973 pennies exploding in price right now? That's the question that separates casual curiosity from strategic insight. The answer is timing. The collector market is experiencing one of the biggest surges in recent years. Wealthy buyers are entering the arena. Auction houses are aggressively searching for top-grade coins. And most importantly, supply is drying up. The few remaining rare 1973 pennies are mostly in private collections, and once those owners hold, prices spike. That means anyone who discovers a high-grade or rare error penny today is entering a seller's market. A market that favors the owner, not the buyer. Imagine that for a moment. You hold the power. You hold the leverage. You hold the coin that someone else desperately wants. That shift in dynamic changes everything. And for some people, it becomes the exact financial turning point they needed to elevate their lifestyle, secure their future, or give their family opportunities they never had. But here's the twist you didn't expect. Not all high-value pennies are easy to recognize. Some of the million-dollar examples look shockingly ordinary. No big flashy errors. No dramatic doubling. No unusual color. They simply exist in exceptional condition, so pristine that they look frozen in time. Coins like that, graded MS-67, MS-68 or higher, become gold mines. And that brings us to the moment where most people make a mistake. They assume their coins are low value because they're not experts. They assume rarity is complicated, unreachable, or only for professionals. But if you can spot the difference between clean edges and damaged ones, sharp lettering and blurry lettering, strong strikes and weak ones, you're already halfway there. The real secret is attention. You don't need decades of experience. You just need the courage to look closely. So here's something to ask yourself right now. How many 1973 pennies have passed through your hands? 100? 1,000? 10,000? And how many of them did you check carefully? Probably none. And that is exactly why some people discover million-dollar coins while others never do. The opportunity was always there. But they weren't paying attention. Now let's move into the part that matters most. What you should do next. Because opportunities don't wait forever. Rare coins don't stay available forever. And markets don't stay on top forever. If you have old coins stored anywhere in your home, now is the time to check them. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Because the truth is, every coin left unexamined is a potential fortune slipping away. Search for any 1973 pennies. Look closely for sharp detail, doubling, unusual marks, or exceptionally clean surfaces. And when you find something that stands out, even if you're unsure, consider getting it professionally graded. A small investment can transform an ordinary penny into a verified high-value asset worth hundreds of thousands. And if you're thinking, will my coin be the $1 million one? The only honest answer is this: you won't know until you look. The next record breaker is still out there. Maybe in a forgotten cookie tin. Maybe in an old coin album from childhood. Maybe in your desk drawer at this very moment. Imagine being the next person to walk into an auction and walk out with enough money to reshape your entire financial future. Imagine paying off debt, purchasing your dream home, starting a business, or simply living with the freedom and peace that financial security brings. That's not fantasy. That's the real outcome that rare coins have delivered to countless everyday Americans. And here's your final cliffhanger. Auction houses are already predicting that the next 1973 no-mint mark penny found in top grade could surpass the current $973,000 mark and push beyond $1 million. That means someone out there, maybe watching this video right now, maybe holding the coin that sets the next record. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing a single forgotten penny sitting in an old jar could be worth more than your entire yearly salary. Hard to believe, right? Yet today, the unassuming 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, something millions of Americans once tossed into grocery store change trays, is rewriting the rules of wealth. And if you've ever wondered whether the coins tucked away in drawers, coffee cans, or inherited boxes could transform your financial life, then don't look away, because what you're about to hear might be the moment that changes everything. Welcome to a story of chance, history, and the overlooked pathways to prosperity that most people walk right past. And yes, one of those paths just happens to be copper-colored and 1 cent in denomination. The journey of the 1978 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny begins in an era when inflation was rising, the nation was shifting, and coins were produced by the hundreds of millions. On the surface, it seems like the least remarkable coin ever struck. No silver, no gold, no fancy commemorative design, just Abraham Lincoln staring quietly forward, which makes it even more astonishing that today, a single surviving example in the right condition has now reached a staggering market value of up to $978,000. And some insiders believe it could cross the $1 million mark at any moment. You heard that correctly. 1 penny, nearly $1 million. How does such a thing happen? That's where this story takes a thrilling turn. The truth is, although the 1978 penny was mass-produced, very few have survived in pristine, untouched, near-flawless condition. And even fewer show the unusual die characteristics, striking errors, or rare variations that collectors are now paying life-changing amounts of money for. Some of these coins reveal doubling so subtle the average person would never notice it. Others carry microscopic minting anomalies that turn them from pocket change into works of art forged by pure accident. Blink and you miss it, but find one, and your life may never look the same again. People assume million-dollar coins must be from the 1800s or some limited edition mint run. So imagine the shock collectors felt when a 1978 penny, a coin younger than many of you watching right now, sold for an amount most Americans won't earn in multiple years. It sent a jolt across the numismatic world, sparking a quiet gold rush among everyday people searching through their old coins. And here's the part no one tells you. The coins that end up being worth the most are rarely the ones you expect. They're the coins hiding in plain sight, the ones you almost gave away, the ones you didn't know mattered. But before we go deeper, ask yourself something. What if the financial breakthrough you've been waiting for isn't a new job, a risky investment, or a lucky lottery ticket? What if it's a coin sitting within arm's reach right now? Sounds ridiculous until it isn't. The 1978 no-mint Mark penny carries more value today not just because of rarity, but because of a shift happening right now in the collecting world. High-net-worth buyers are aggressively competing for the finest-known examples of modern-era coins. They're looking for something tangible, historical, and recession-resistant. Something they can hold in their hand that doesn't disappear when the stock market hiccups. So when a certified, top-grade 1978 penny appears at auction, they pounce. That demand raises prices. Those prices raise expectations. And those expectations ignite a surge of urgency among sellers who want to seize the moment while values are skyrocketing. And yes, they are skyrocketing. But here's where the story gets even more compelling. Many Americans born between 1950 and 1990 grew up seeing these coins daily. They were in piggy banks, purses, jean pockets, even between couch cushions. It's almost poetic. The very same penny you once used to buy gum could now help you buy a luxury car, pay off debt, or even put a down payment on a home. Talk about inflation with benefits. Still, let's be honest. Some people will hear all this and think, there's no way, not from a penny. And that skepticism is exactly why so many rare coins stay hidden for decades. Opportunities don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they disguise themselves as something ordinary. Sometimes they weigh exactly 3.11 grams and fit between your fingers. Collectors aren't just buying a coin. They're buying the story, the survival, the rarity, the immaculate preservation. A perfect, gem-quality 1978 penny stands out like a diamond in a desert. So few exist that even seasoned experts can go years without handling one. And that scarcity is the magic element that creates millionaires. Picture this. Somewhere out there, right now, someone is holding one of these pennies and has absolutely no idea what it's worth. Maybe it's buried inside a drawer with old receipts. Maybe it's taped inside a birthday card your grandfather once gave you. Maybe it's mixed in a jar where you toss your spare change every night. Maybe it's in your house this very minute. And if that thought sends a spark through your chest, good. That's your instinct telling you this might be your moment to pay attention. Because there is a window of opportunity here. Values are high. Demand is hotter than ever. And coins like this don't stay underpriced forever. Eventually, collectors find what they're looking for. Wealthy buyers shift their focus, and the frenzy calms down. The question is, will you act before that happens? The difference between someone who discovers a life-changing coin and someone who misses their chance often comes down to one simple action. Looking, searching, taking the few minutes to examine what you already own. And isn't that a comforting thought? That your financial breakthrough might begin not with spending money, but with finding it. But let's not sugarcoat it. Not every 1978 penny is worth 6 figures. Most aren't. Some are only worth a few dollars. A few are worth hundreds. And then, in rare lightning strike moments, one surfaces in nearly flawless mint state condition, with crisp details, shimmering luster, and the kind of visual perfection collectors chase relentlessly. That's what pushes values into the hundreds of thousands. That's what transforms an ordinary household coin into a trophy for the elite. And here's the part that should make your pulse quicken. You don't need to be an expert to find one. You just need curiosity, a bit of patience, and good lighting. Though let's be real, if your eyesight isn't what it used to be, maybe a magnifier wouldn't hurt. Imagine being able to say, years from now, that you were one of the people who discovered the hidden value of modern-era coins before the rest of the world caught up. Imagine the relief of financial freedom delivered to you by something that cost 1 cent. Imagine the story you'll tell. The one your friends won't believe until you show them the auction results with a grin you can't hide. And here's your cliffhanger. The most valuable 1978 penny ever found didn't come from a collector, a dealer, or a museum. It came from someone just like you, someone who decided to check. Someone who nearly threw it away. Someone who almost missed their million-dollar moment. So before you leave this video, take this as your sign. Go find your old coins. Search the jars. Open the boxes in the attic. Look through the forgotten collections passed down through your family. Because the next rare 1978 penny is still out there. And if you're the one who discovers it, well, let's just say your wealthy lifestyle might begin with something so small, so simple, and so unbelievably valuable that you'll never look at a penny the same way again. There's a moment in life when you realize that the smallest things, sometimes literally the smallest, can change everything. And today, that moment might be hiding in the palm of your hand or forgotten in a jar in the back of a cabinet. Because the humble 1979 D. Lincoln penny, the coin so many people spent without a second thought, is quietly rewriting the meaning of wealth. And as shocking as it sounds, this coin is now selling for as high as $979,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a single cent. Hard to believe? It should be. But by the time you reach the end of this video, you will understand exactly why. Before we dig into value, rarity, or the market frenzy building around this coin, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at the pennies in your pocket? Not just glance. Actually study the details? Most people don't. That's why fortunes are being thrown away every single day. Somewhere a family is tossing a priceless coin into a Coinstar machine, and they never know it. That's the fear no collector talks about. Being the person who lets a life-changing treasure slip away unnoticed. The story of the 1979 D penny begins like any other ordinary coin. Billions were minted, passed around, forgotten. It wasn't born special. It became special over time as collectors discovered that something was different. Subtle variations, minting quirks, striking errors, and the breathtaking condition of a few surviving examples. Not hundreds, not dozens, just a handful good enough to shock the market. Here's the twist. Most people assume rare coins are ancient. They imagine vaults, museums, or dusty collections. But what really gets collectors' hearts racing is when something modern, something from within your own lifetime, suddenly becomes the talk of auction houses. Why? Because anyone can have one. You don't need to hunt across continents. You don't need to know a guy who knows a guy. This penny may already be in your home. And that possibility sparks a kind of excitement people rarely admit. The idea that destiny might be sitting in your drawer, waiting. But the real magic of the 1979 D penny is what happened when grading companies stepped in. A few specimens emerged in such pristine, untouched condition that experts stopped calling them coins and started calling them miracles. Coins with flawless surfaces, perfectly centered strikes, no signs of wear, and sharp details that almost glow under magnification. One of these near-perfect survivors recently pushed the market to the unbelievable number, $979,000. Not because it's old, but because it's a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector demand colliding at the right moment. Now, imagine this. A coin you could have stepped over on the sidewalk in 1995 is now breaking records. And that's where the excitement becomes urgency. Because collectors are watching, sellers are watching, and the window of opportunity is tightening. Prices like this don't stay quiet forever. Once the world catches on, the market shifts. Those who act early can win big. Those who wait, they get to watch others live the life they hesitated to reach for. There's something empowering about thinking of wealth this way. That you don't need a business empire or a Wall Street investment or a sudden inheritance. Sometimes wealth is hidden in plain sight, disguised as pocket change. Almost like the universe sneaking opportunity under your nose, asking whether you'll notice. So let's talk specifics. What makes certain 1979 D pennies worth almost $1 million? It's not the date alone. It's the combination of condition, minting quality, and die errors. When a coin is struck using a fresh die with perfect alignment, the details come out crisp. Lincoln's beard is sharp. The lettering has depth. The rims are smooth. These are the pennies collectors dream of. Now pair that with a coin that has never been in circulation, never touched a countertop, never rubbed against another coin. A perfect survivor stored accidentally by someone decades ago. Sounds rare, right? It is. That's why the top value is nearly $1 million. But here's where things get even more interesting. There are also mid-tier valuable versions, coins worth hundreds, thousands, and tens of thousands of dollars. And these are far more common than you might expect. A small die crack, a double die obverse, a misaligned strike, or even an unusually clean surface can push a 1979 D penny into serious money. You're not just hunting for one mythical coin. You're hunting for a spectrum of wealth possibilities hiding across millions of pennies. And for anyone watching who wants to sell rare coins and elevate their lifestyle, this is the era to pay attention. The market is hungry. Collectors are competitive. Wealth seekers are learning that the right coin can do more than sit in a display case. It can be the seed of a new financial chapter. One sale can wipe out debt, launch a business, or open the door to the comfort and freedom people spend decades working for. But let's pause for a moment, because the story you're hearing today isn't just about coins. It's about awareness, opportunity, and the fear of what you might be missing. I mean, how many times have you emptied a jar of old pennies without checking? How many times have you handed over change without a thought? What if one of those moments cost you a six-figure fortune? $1 million mistake sounds dramatic until it's real. And with the 1979 D penny, it's very real. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if you have one of these valuable coins? The first clue lies in the mint mark, a bold D, just below the date. That tells you it came from Denver, where the conditions for high-quality strikes that year were perfect. Then look at the surface. Is it bright, reflective, almost untouched? Does the coin look like it skipped decades entirely? That alone puts you ahead of most people. Then examine details. Are the edges clean? Are Lincoln's features razor sharp? And if you have even a tiny suspicion, this is the moment to stop guessing and get it graded. Professional grading turns a maybe into a yes. And when your goal is to sell a coin for life-changing money, certification isn't optional. It's the key that unlocks the highest buyers. But here's something people don't expect. Even graded coins don't always stay at the same value. The market moves. And right now, the market is rising. Collectors are looking for the next iconic modern penny. And as demand grows, prices climb. Imagine knowing that a coin selling today for $50,000 might be worth $150,000 in a few years. Or that the $979,000 record might soon be broken, possibly by a coin someone hasn't discovered yet. Maybe even yours. This is where excitement and urgency start to merge. Because wealth loves speed. And opportunity doesn't wait. Some people will hear this story and think, I'll check later. And later becomes never. Others will go to their coin jars today, and those are the people who change their lives. But what keeps collectors awake at night, the fear, the thrill, the adrenaline, is knowing that the next $1 million coin isn't announced in advance. It's discovered by someone unexpected, someone ordinary, someone like you. Think about that for a moment. Isn't it funny how life works? People chase money for years, yet sometimes the universe hides it in the smallest object imaginable. A 1-cent coin with the power to reshape your future. And before we reach the end of this video, let me leave you with one final cliffhanger thought. Somewhere, right now, a 1979 penny is sitting unnoticed. It might be in a thrift store cash drawer, a bank bag, or a dusty jar in a garage. And someone will find it. Someone will realize its value. Someone will claim the next record-breaking sale. The only question left is simple. Will that someone be you? Now is the moment. Check your coins. Explore your collection. Look closer than you ever have before. Because the opportunity is real, the value is real, and the potential for life-changing wealth is no longer a myth. It's waiting, quietly, patiently, inside a coin most people overlook. And as you move forward, remember this, wealth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. And today, it might be whispering from inside a 1979 Lincoln penny. If you'd like, I can also create a shorter version, a more emotional version, or additional scripts for other penny coins. Imagine waking up one morning and discovering that a single penny sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or an old coffee can in your garage could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? But for a rare 1984 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, that unbelievable dream is a very real possibility. And today, you're about to uncover the truth behind how one small, ordinary-looking coin has changed lives, created wealth, and continues to rise in value with shocking speed. Stay with me because what you learn in the next few minutes might just change the way you look at every penny you've ever touched. Before we dive in, take a quick look around your home in your mind. Think about that old shoebox, that inherited jar of coins from a parent or grandparent, or even that spare change rolling around in your car's center console. What if, hidden among those worn copper coins, there's a rare piece capable of paying off your debts, funding your retirement, or even transforming your lifestyle into something wealthier, freer, and far more secure than you ever imagined? People sell treasures every year without knowing what they're worth. Others hold onto coins that could have turned their entire financial future around. And the rare 1984 penny is one of those quietly powerful treasures. But how did such a common-looking penny become so incredibly valuable? Let's rewind for a moment. The year was 1984, a time when the Lincoln Memorial Cent was mass-produced across the country. Tens of millions rolled out of the mint, and the majority were spent, lost, or tossed into circulation without a second thought. But among those countless coins, a few were different. A few were flawed, struck with the kind of mistake that turns an ordinary penny into a world-class collectible. These errors were so subtle that most people never noticed them. Yet their impact on the coin market has been nothing short of jaw-dropping. Collectors across the U.S. have spent years hunting for the rare 1984 no-mint Mark penny with the famous double-deer variety. And while not every 1984 penny is worth huge money, the rare ones have caught the attention of investors, collectors, and everyday people trying to build wealth in resourceful ways. That's why the market has pushed this coin's value to an astonishing peak of $984,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for a coin you could easily mistake for pocket change. Now, at this point you might be thinking, how can a coin that looks so ordinary become so valuable? The truth is, wealth often hides in the places we least expect, and only those who know where to look get the chance to unlock it. That's where your opportunity begins. But before we uncover exactly what makes this penny worth so much, Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly checked your change? Not glanced at it, but really checked it? Most people don't. And that's exactly how million-dollar treasures slip through fingers every single day, unnoticed. Still with me? Good. Because what we're about to discuss could be the reason someone watching this video becomes the next person to cash in on one of these incredible coins. The value of the 1984 penny isn't just tied to its rarity. It's tied to the story it tells. This coin represents a perfect storm of history, scarcity, and collector demand. It's also tied to fear. The fear of missing out as prices climb higher, and excitement, because each day someone discovers a rare coin that catapults their financial life forward. For many people between the ages of 30 and 65, this is far more than a hobby. It is a powerful way to build wealth, protect savings, and create opportunity in uncertain times. And let's be honest, who doesn't want an extra layer of financial security? Especially when it might already be sitting inside your home. So what exactly are you looking for? The rare 1984 penny is known for its doubling, particularly on Lincoln's ear. This error creates a dramatic doubling effect on the design, something that never should have happened, yet did. And because so few escaped into the public, those that survive today are worth astronomical amounts. Even mid-grade examples can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. But the finest graded specimens, the ones preserved in exceptional condition, those are the ones pushing close to the million-dollar mark. Can you imagine holding a coin worth that much in your hand? It's almost comical, isn't it? A 1-cent coin that could buy a luxury home in cash or change your retirement plans entirely. It makes you wonder how many people have unknowingly handed over small fortunes at gas stations over the years. But here's where the story changes direction again. Because as incredible as the value of this coin is, the true power lies in what you decide to do today. You're at a crossroads. On one side, there's the possibility that you own one of these rare coins and don't even realize it yet. On the other side, there's the danger of missing this opportunity by simply doing nothing. And I'll tell you this, hesitation has cost people more money than bad decisions ever have. Take a moment and think about the last time you came across a rare opportunity. Did you act on it? Or did you pause, wonder, and let someone else take the reward? This is your moment to do something different. Not tomorrow, not next month, now. Because the collector's market is shifting every day, and rare coins like the 1984 double-deer penny have been climbing fast. And if you've been paying attention to wealth trends over the last few years, you know that unique assets like this are becoming incredibly important. But the story doesn't end here, because for every million-dollar penny discovered, there are dozens more still waiting in drawers, closets, jars, and old metal tins across America. Maybe one is waiting for you. Maybe it's sitting in a jar you haven't opened in years. Maybe it's hiding in the pocket of a jacket you never wear. Or maybe, just maybe, someone gave it to you long ago without realizing its worth. And here's the twist that keeps collectors awake at night. The most valuable coins are often found by ordinary people who weren't even looking. That's the cliffhanger built into the world of coin hunting. You never know what's out there until you look. So let's talk about what happens if you do find one. A coin like this can command life-changing prices at major auctions. Experts estimate that pristine examples of the rare 1984 no-mint mark penny can reach as high as $984,000 in today's market. And with demand growing, the ceiling for this coin could break $1 million in the near future. Imagine having a collectible that not only makes history but also lifts your financial life to a level you've only dreamed about. But here's an important question. What will you do with this information? Will you shrug it off and move on with your day? Or will you act like someone who recognizes an opportunity that could reshape their future? Remember, rare coins don't wait. Values rise, supply tightens, and the window to capitalize grows smaller each year. You don't want to look back and say, I knew about this, and I did nothing. If you have old pennies in your home, this is the time to check them. Carefully, patiently, and with the knowledge that you could be holding a piece of hidden wealth. And if you do uncover something rare and extraordinary, your next step is evaluating it, grading it, and connecting with the right buyers. That's how big fortunes are unlocked in the coin world. Before we wrap up, here's one last thought. People often say that luck is random. But in reality, luck favors the people who prepare, who pay attention, and who take action when opportunity knocks. Today, opportunity is knocking for you. It's disguised as a simple copper penny from 1984, and it could be one of the most valuable discoveries of your lifetime. So go check your coins. Go look through those jars and drawers, because you never know, your life might be one penny away from a whole new chapter. And if you think this story ends here, stay tuned, because the rare coin market is full of surprises, and the next $1,000,000 discovery might appear in the most unexpected place. Maybe even in your hands. Imagine reaching into an old change jar, pulling out a dull copper coin you barely notice, and discovering that it could change your entire financial future. What if a simple 2004 penny with no mint mark, something millions of people spent without a second thought, could be worth up to millions of dollars today? And what if the current verified market value for exceptional examples has already crossed $204,000, with collectors impatiently hunting for the next big find? Stay with me, because over the next few minutes you're going to discover why this unremarkable little coin might be the most remarkable opportunity sitting right inside your home. For many Americans, wealth feels like a moving target. Prices rise, incomes don't keep up, and financial security feels like something reserved for the fortunate few. But hidden in drawers, jars, boxes, and old wallets, everyday people have found fortune in the most unexpected places. Ordinary families, ordinary coins, extraordinary luck, and the 2004 no mint mark Lincoln penny has quickly become one of the most surprising rags-to-riches stories in modern coin collecting. Strange, isn't it? How a single cent can end up outperforming entire investment portfolios. It almost makes you want to dump your pockets out right now, doesn't it? Before you do, let me take you back to how this all started. In 2004, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents without mint marks at the Philadelphia facility. To most people, these coins were just another year, another penny, another moment of spare change passed around in everyday transactions. But collectors soon realized something unusual. Certain 2004 no mint mark pennies were showing incredibly sharp details, rare die characteristics, and unusual minting anomalies. Tiny imperfections, tiny differences, but differences that turned into massive value. A few sharp-eyed collectors began submitting these coins for grading, expecting nothing more than an interesting find. But the results stunned everyone. Some graded at levels far beyond what experts predicted. A few reached near-perfect conditions, almost unheard of for a coin that circulated among millions. And when the first major sale crossed the six-figure mark, the entire collecting community jolted awake. Word spread fast. Suddenly, people across the country were searching through their jars and bags for that one overlooked treasure. Maybe you've wondered the same thing. Could I be sitting on something valuable without knowing it? The truth is, this 2004 penny became valuable because rarity plus condition equals opportunity. Not just any piece. Only those in exceptional condition with sharp details, untouched surfaces, and extremely rare die varieties carry this tremendous worth. That's where the highest auction results came from. That's why we've seen sales climbing to $204,000, and why experts now whisper that the right example could push into seven-figure territory. Imagine explaining to your family that you sold a penny for a house. Or two. Not a bad conversation starter. But there's something even more fascinating. Most rare coins from earlier decades became valuable because of age or design changes. But the 2004 no mint mark penny is different. It's modern. It's recent. It's something many people still have without realizing its true potential. That's what makes this opportunity so electrifying. You don't need to dig through old estates, visit auctions, or hunt through antique stores. You just need to check what's already yours. How often does anyone get access to a wealth opportunity that costs literally nothing to look for? You might be wondering what exactly makes one of these pennies worth that kind of money. It comes down to a handful of key markers. Flawless or near-flawless surfaces, full red mint luster despite age, razor-sharp details on Lincoln's coat, beard, and hair, and extremely rare varieties such as double dies, misalignments, or early die state strikes. These tiny features separate a common penny from a life-changing one. It feels almost unfair, doesn't it? One coin with a slightly different line or shine becomes a small fortune, while another sits forgotten in a cup holder. But that's the beauty of numismatics. The unnoticed becomes the unforgettable. Collectors are not just buying coins. They're buying history. They're buying rarity. And most importantly, they're buying opportunity. Wealthy collectors, investment groups, and rare coin buyers have already begun circling the high-grade 2004 pennies like hawks watching the ground for movement. And here's the urgent part. As more people discover this coin's potential, the supply of untouched, ungraded examples is shrinking fast. Every coin sent for grading reduces what's left in the wild. Every discovery pushes prices higher. And every day someone else's old penny becomes someone else's payday. The question is, will yours be next? Before we go deeper, let's reset for a moment. I know it sounds wild. A penny worth 6 figures? A modern penny worth millions? It almost feels like one of those too good to be true late-night commercials. But the documented sales, the market interest, and the intense competition among collectors prove otherwise. When real money enters the market, everything changes. And it already has. The excitement is real, but so is the fear of missing out. Especially for anyone who dreams of leveling up their lifestyle, gaining financial freedom, or creating a safety net in uncertain times. And that brings us to the part nobody talks about enough. The emotional power of discovery. Finding a rare coin is more than making money. It's the thrill of knowing you uncovered something others overlooked. It's the validation that wealth can come from the most unexpected places. And it's the empowering realization that you don't have to be rich to access wealth. You just have to be aware. That's why people have become obsessed with checking every 2004 penny they come across. Curiosity becomes excitement. Excitement becomes hope. Hope becomes determination. And sometimes, determination becomes a 6-figure bank deposit. Now imagine this. Somewhere out there, maybe even in your house, a 2000 for no mint mark penny is sitting quietly, waiting for the right person to recognize it. Maybe it's trapped inside a jar under your kitchen counter. Maybe it fell between your car seats. Maybe it's in a box with old tax papers and forgotten receipts. And maybe, just maybe, it's the coin that brings the breakthrough you've been waiting for. What would you do with an unexpected $204,000? Pay off your debts? Upgrade your life? Invest for your future? Or maybe take that vacation you never thought you'd afford? It's fun to imagine, but it's even more fun to realize it could be real. Of course, the journey doesn't end with finding the coin. The next step is knowing what to do with it. Professional grading transforms a regular lucky find into a documented, authenticated treasure that collectors trust. Selling through reputable auction houses or private buyers ensures you receive full market value. And understanding exactly what collectors are hunting for gives you an edge that most people simply don't have. Because while millions of Americans unknowingly spend these coins every day, only a small percentage will ever understand their potential. Here's a small cliffhanger for you. Within the last few years, several newly discovered high-grade 2004 pennies shocked the market by selling for higher than predicted values. But experts believe there are still undiscovered examples that could reset the record again. The next breakthrough could come from anyone, could come from you. And the only way to find out is to look carefully, patiently, and consistently. As we reach the end of this story, it's clear that the 2000 for no mint mark Lincoln penny is more than a coin. It's a symbol of possibility. It's a reminder that wealth doesn't always appear in grand forms. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. And sometimes, all it takes is one moment of attention to transform an ordinary day into an extraordinary turning point. So before you move on with your day, take one small step. Check your pennies. Search your jars. Look through that old wallet you haven't opened in years. Because opportunity rarely knocks twice. And in this case, it might be sitting right in the palm of your hand. And who knows? Your next penny might just be the one that changes everything. If you'd like, I can also create a shorter version, a more dramatic version, or an optimized version for TikTok, Facebook Reels, or Shorts. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of loose change, and realizing that a single ordinary-looking 2015 Lincoln penny could pay off your home, erase your debts, and launch you into a lifestyle you once believed was reserved only for the wealthy. Sounds impossible, right? Yet every year, Countless people accidentally spend these rare treasures without ever knowing their true value. And today, you're about to discover why the 2015 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has quietly entered the elite class of modern coins, valued not just in the hundreds or thousands, but soaring as high as millions of dollars, with verified sales already pushing past $215,000. Yes, a penny worth more than a luxurious beach house. But before we uncover how an everyday cent became one of the most powerful wealth-building opportunities hiding in plain sight, let me warn you, millions of Americans unknowingly toss away these fortunes every single day. The fear of missing out is real. So stay tuned, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly what to look for, how to identify the rare variations, and how one tiny coin can shift the trajectory of your financial future. This story begins in a place few people ever think about: the bustling, high-pressure floors of the U.S. Mint in 2015. It was supposed to be a routine year for penny production. Billions of coins were struck for circulation, each stamped with Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait and, on most versions, the unmistakable mint marks of Denver or San Francisco. But in certain batches, a quiet anomaly appeared. A flaw, a misstep, a tiny deviation that no machine operator noticed in the moment, yet collectors around the world would later treat as a golden ticket. Some of these 2015 pennies left the mint without any identifying mark at all. That missing D, that missing S, a simple absence that transformed these coins from ordinary to extraordinary. But rarity alone wasn't enough to push them to 6 or 7 figures. The real twist, the plot that turned a humble copper-plated zinc coin into a millionaire maker, came from a strange series of die errors, doubling, misaligned strikes, off-center designs, and dramatic die cracks. Combine rarity with error, and suddenly the value of these coins skyrocketed into territory few collectors could have predicted. Imagine someone standing in line at a grocery store, flipping a penny across the conveyor belt, unaware they just tossed away a 6-figure payday. Maybe you've done the same at some point. Maybe one of these coins has passed through your hands already. Slightly terrifying to think about, isn't it? Collectors crave the unexpected. They hunt for anomalies, for imperfections, for the impossible-to-replicate conditions that only occur when precision machinery glitches under immense pressure. The 2015 no-mint mark penny became one of those anomalies, an unplanned masterpiece created by a moment of mechanical fatigue. Now, you might be wondering how a coin from such a recent year can command such staggering prices. After all, older coins usually dominate the market. But modern rarities have one major advantage: survival. Most people don't protect new pennies. They don't store them in airtight holders or collectible albums. They let them sit in drawers, fall into couch cushions, or rattle around with keys. That means the number of high-grade 2015 no-mint mark pennies is shockingly small. The fewer pristine examples that exist, the more powerful the price becomes. And when a population drops into the single digits, even the wealthy collectors begin competing aggressively, driving prices upward with each bidding war. Some of the highest recorded prices come from coins graded almost perfectly, MS-67, MS-68, sometimes even edging toward MS-69. When a modern coin reaches that level, it becomes a trophy piece, a status symbol, an object that tells the world, "I own something no one else has." And wealthy collectors pay handsomely for status. One sale in particular stunned the coin-collecting world. A 2015 no-mint mark penny selling for an astonishing $215,000 in pristine condition. And that was just the beginning, because private sales, the ones wealthy investors don't publicize, have hinted at figures far beyond that, climbing into 7-figure territory. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. Now here's where things get exciting for you. Because unlike many rare coins hidden in bank vaults or old collections, the 2015 penny is still circulating today. That means the opportunity hasn't passed. You still have a chance to find one in your pocket, your car, your change jar, or that old bag of coins sitting in the back of your closet. This isn't ancient treasure. This is modern wealth waiting to be discovered. Before we go deeper, let's reset the attention for a moment with a slightly humorous thought. Isn't it funny how we worry about misplacing $100 bills, but casually drop pennies everywhere like they're crumbs from a cookie? Yet ironically, the penny you flick away could be the most valuable thing you touch today. Now, let's talk about the specific details that determine whether your 2015 penny is worth just 1 cent or worth enough to transform your financial life. First, examine the coin under bright light, tilting it gently. Look for doubling on the date, the letters of liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." Doubling errors are one of the most lucrative features on this coin. If you see even a hint of thickening, shadowing, or separation in the letters, your heart should start racing. Second, inspect the rims. Is the design off-center? Even a slight shift can boost value dramatically. Third, look for cracks, thin raised lines across Lincoln's portrait or the shield design. Die cracks are incredibly collectible because no two are exactly alike. And finally, look for that missing mint mark. That absence is your key to rarity. But here's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors awake at night. Experts believe that the rarest 2015 pennies are still out there, undiscovered, circulating, hiding where no one has thought to look. What if one of those coins is sitting in a forgotten coffee can in your garage? What if the next millionaire-making penny is literally in your home right now? And the urgency grows stronger every year. As more collectors begin hunting for these coins, the supply of ungraded gems shrinks. Once the top-tier examples are found and locked away in private collections, everyday people like you and me lose the chance to strike gold. But today, right now, the window is still open, so don't wait. Not after hearing what this coin is capable of. Go through your change. Check every 2015 penny you come across. Examine the coins in your drawers, your purses, your storage boxes, your old piggy banks, because thousands of Americans are already searching, and the competition is growing. And if you do find one of these rare treasures, securing it the right way is critical. Keep it safe, avoid touching it directly with your fingers, and consider sending it to a professional grading service. A single notch in grade can add tens of thousands of dollars to its value. And if your penny happens to be one of the ultra-rare examples, those near-perfect, high-grade specimens, your life could change in a matter of weeks. Imagine the moment you open an envelope from a grading company and see the number you hoped for. Imagine knowing that a tiny coin, something most people ignore, has opened the door to a new lifestyle. A lifestyle of choices instead of limitations, freedom instead of stress, opportunity instead of uncertainty. That's not just excitement. That's life-altering empowerment. But before we end, here's one more cliffhanger for you. The 2015 no-mint mark penny is not the only modern coin hiding extraordinary value. In fact, there are several others circulating right now that most people overlook. If you think today's story was surprising, wait until you learn about the coins that have broken the $1 million mark without anyone realizing they even exist. So stay alert. Stay curious. And whatever you do, don't underestimate the power of the smallest coin in your pocket. The next time you hear that metallic clink as a penny hits the table, remember, wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers. And your financial breakthrough might be whispering right now.